Welcome, beautiful buddies and gentlemen, family. I just finished off watching FC Barcelona versus Frankfurt in the UEFA Champions League, and I'm here to share my thoughts around this game. I think this is one of those games there isn't that much to take away. I mean, the performance from FC Barcelona, especially that first half, even the second half performance, there are a lot of stuff to discuss it. Just a little bit how underwhelming it was. I definitely didn't expect it. My prediction for Barcelona this game was a 4-0 victory. But I think it's quite clear why the game also didn't go 4-0 apart from Barcelona's individual performance. It was, the Champions League games. Because, a lot of people say why this new Champions League format isn't the best and everything is because the stakes in the game. But now that we're coming towards the end of the group stage, the stakes are getting up. I predicted a 4-0 because Frankfurt have conceded goals for fun this season to basically everyone. I think they conceded 5 to Liverpool, they conceded 5 to Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid not famous for their attacking football and scoring that many goals, and Liverpool, we know the form that they've been in this season. So that's why I went with the 4-0. But during watching the game, I was like, why are they parking the bus? Why is a German Bundesliga team that are usually open parking the bus? Yeah, it's because I believe Frankfurt only have one victory. They beat Galatasaray 5-1 this season. And yeah, they had to win this game because you got to have at least 12 points, I think, to make it through to the knockout stages. And, 2 games left. If they have won this game, it would have been 12 points. So I think Frankfurt are officially out now after this game. And that's why they played in the way they played. But we did see that the way that Frankfurt played, obviously, made it very frustrating for FC Barcelona, sitting back with their entire team and having that Kuof, the player that scored, number 7. He was just sitting up there chilling, waiting for the upcoming counterattacks and so on. And it definitely made it hard for Barca, which, isn't like a special thing. I mean, parking the bus against every team makes it harder for the other team to play their football, do their thing, and so on. And that's how the first half went for a majority of the time. It was Barca had a lot of possession at one point. I think they had 72% possession, and they were just playing the ball around. And Frankfurt made it really, really hard to create any opportunities. But despite that, Barca needs to be able to do better against these sides. And that goes for any side, that struggles against the park the bus. You got to do better. You got to find ways. And who do we talk about there? So Pedri, for example, I still felt he had a good game. Even by Pedri's high standards. I still felt, because Pedri was always trying to find passes. There was one in the second half. I remember when he found Rashford. Then Rashford found Rafinha, who missed a huge opportunity. I even thought Pedri was going to be offside in that first position. But Pedri was trying to find, players in behind, like Rafinha, like Balde, even Lewandowski, Jules Kounde. So he's someone that's a little bit less of critique. Then it's the wingers, because the wingers are meant to destabilize a team. That's their job. They can get the GA and so on, but for the performance in the 90 minutes, it's about destabilizing the team, and that's where really Lamine Yamal suffered a lot. A lot of it obviously had to do with how Frankfurt played. They had 2 players on both flanks, so made it really hard for the combination of Rafinha and Baldo on the left side and Kounde and Yamal on the right-hand side. But we still gotta be honest. We still gotta have higher expectations. Obviously, Yamal's strength is more on the ball. Rafinha is more in behind. Rafinha was trying to make his runs, but again, there wasn't that much space to run into in behind. So I think just why also Barca didn't perform the best from individual standpoint is because of the way Frankfurt played. Frankfurt played in a way to stop this FC Barcelona team. And I mean, they were quite close to doing that. That's why I said after Madrid's victory versus Atletico Bilbao, I said it's a great performance for Madrid, it's a great result, but how much of it is because of the opponent? Because game after, playing Celta Vigo were just parking the bus, and Madrid couldn't do anything in that game. So I think a lot of it has to do with the way that Frankfurt played that resulted in the Barca performance. But we can still be critical of FC Barcelona. I think the pressing intensity is something they have been trying to improve over a couple of weeks, with Rafinha coming back, with overall slightly better fitness levels for all of the Barca players. But I still think the intensity in pressing, especially how important it is for the flick system, it has to be improved. Because as we say, the worse you are at pressing, the worse that Barca defensive backline will look like. And we saw Frankfurt once again open up Barcelona so many times. This is what I've been saying ever since the Inter tie, or even before that last season. It's just too easy to score versus Barca. 1-2 balls. Like, imagine you are in a big Champions League semi-final. You're 1-0 up. Barca will still play that way. Maybe if it's early in the game. And you just give the opposition such an easy goal. I don't know how long I would say it, but it has to stop, man. You can still play a high. Look, every big club in Europe plays a high line. But no club in Europe concedes at such a high rate amount of easy goals. I mean, Flick, ever since coming in to Barcelona as the manager, Flick's Barca have scored the most goals in the UEFA Champions League. But they've also conceded the most at the same time. And I just don't know if, like, game after game, we're just seeing it. And I still don't know if, the tactics can win a club a Champions League. Because when it comes to Champions League, it's all about the small measures. It's all about the details. It's all about the small moments. And yeah, just too easy. Because Frankfurt, they could have scored more. I know they hit the crossbar, but I think it came from an offside opportunity. But they had, the usual chance against Barca. Put it to the side, put it in the middle, and the opposition scores. So the defensive openness for Barca is still a lot. And when it comes to, we can come now to individual players. Juan Garcia, I felt he had a good game. Nothing to do about the goal. Had some good saves. Juan Garcia, I've also noticed he's good at catching balls from corners. Obviously, this is not a Premier League side. It'll be interesting to see. We obviously saw him versus Chelsea, but I don't remember Chelsea having that many corners and set pieces. Obviously, set pieces, but that wasn't really his thing to do. Kunde, again, Frankfurt didn't threaten Barca offensively that much, apart from like blitzkrieg counterattacks where you legit can't blame anything on the defenders. It's more about the tactics and the system. But Kunde gets 2 important, huge goals for FC Barcelona tonight. And I did tweet, could this potentially be the comeback of Kunde? Is this what he wanted? Is this what he needed? Because yes, when it comes to Kunde specifically, we can talk about physicality. We can talk about intensity. I mean, he played, I think, the most games for Barcelona last season. We're seeing his form this season has dipped immensely. Could be a physical thing. Could be that, the January rest towards the late of December can help Jules Koundé a lot. But sometimes it's mentality, it's confidence, and getting 2 huge, important goals that give Barcelona the full 3 points is immaculate from Koundé and could potentially bring him back to his best, which, I mean, I would like to see. Koundé is a good player, and I have a huge question mark over his performances this season. Kubarsi, cheeky game, nothing special. Gerard Martin, questionable on his defending there in the first goal. I mean, it's a tough ball to get to, but I think maybe it's a reality check now. Like, yeah, no, Gerard Martin will have some good performances for Barca, but he cannot be a starter for Barca. We've seen the Schlotterbeck reports. We've seen that Flick wants him. I think Barca should go all in for him. Alejandro Balde. Felt he had a good game, good runs there on the left side. Obviously had to play with Rafinha. Then when Rashford came on, had to play with him. And overall, cheeky game from Balde. Going into the midfield, there was obviously Eric Garcia, Pedri double pivot. So Pedri felt good. Eric Garcia, didn't notice him that much. Fermi Lopez, mid-game. He was mid in the Atletico Madrid game as well. So maybe his form is going down. And it's so funny because almost form was going up and now he's injured. It's just sometimes so unfortunate. Moving up to the attack, I think Rafinha, Lewandowski, and Lamine Yamal all were very quiet today. Good assist from, a bit lucky assist, let's be honest. I mean, he just goes and puts it in there. It's a good header from Koundé. The first cross, though, from Rashford, beautiful. I mean, we've seen that so many times this season from Rashford. He just puts in a ball which nobody can defend. I mean, it has great power, it has great dip, and obviously placement. I mean, it's so hard to do. It reminds me a lot of Nuno Mendes crosses. Like, Nuno Mendes puts a lot of those type of crosses into the box. So, yeah, Rashford just, again, apart from that, didn't do that much. I mean, he created a good chance, opportunity from Rafinha. But apart from that, I didn't remember that much from him. But it's always good. Like, imagine having a Rashford on the bench. Not every team. I mean, how many teams have a player with Rashford's qualities coming off the bench? And, he's a big game player. He's a big moments player. And I think he can be crucial. That's something that Barca didn't have last season. They've added Juan Garcia. They lost Inigo Martinez. But I think Rashford, having him as a squad player, having Rashford coming off the bench, and, just individual ability. Individual special moments. That's what you need in the special moments competition Champions League. So I think Barca deserves critique But at the end of the day, they got the 3 points. They're sitting first in the league. This is a group stage game at the end of the day. And it's all about picking up the 3 points. I think they have Copenhagen and Slavia Prague left, one away, one home. Barca should, get the 6 points there. And despite being a little bit wobbly in the Champions League, they could finish in the top 8 spot, which will be very favorable for FC Barcelona going into the knockout stages. But as I said, it wasn't the best performance from Barca, but they got the 3 points. Kunde 2 goals, Yamal assist, Rashford assist. They keep rolling. I'm still expecting more consistency from Barca. Like we see them basically beat Betis 5-1, beating Atletico Madrid with a wonderful performance, and then it goes a little bit downhill in this game. So a little bit more consistency is expected. I think you can talk about individual performance like Lamine Yamal. I tweeted it. Overall, the level he's been playing at this season. It could be the pubalgia stuff. I mean, that's a very valid argument, but it could potentially be more than that. It could be mental fatigue. I've noticed that with a lot of youngsters, a lot of stuff happens a lot early on, and then they dip a lot. I'm not comparing Yamal quality or talent-wise to Warren Zaire-Emery, but that's a little bit what happened to Warren. Maybe the same thing is happening to Lamine Yamal, a bit of mental fatigue. Then obviously the best thing is a little bit of rest. Obviously, he's also gotten humbled now that his performance has gone down and so on. Lewandowski, I think it's quite clear this definitely has to be his last season. I mean, Barca are not going to extend him. Leva doesn't want to extend. That's what the reports are saying. But Schlotterbeck, if Barca can do that in January, it will be a huge signing. We saw Paris Saint-Germain last season with Khvicha Kvaratskhelia, how impactful it was for the Champions League. And look, La Liga now, Madrid had a really good start. I thought they were going to be tougher than last season. Now they've dropped some points. We'll see how they continue. But it looks like maybe Barca got the second La Liga title in the bag. Then they can compete for a cheeky Copa del Rey or Supercopa de España. But obviously, the aim at the end of the day, the Champions League. You reached the semi last season so that you can at least do that or even better this season. That should be the aim. Despite, not the best start from Barca this season, losing to Paris Saint-Germain, losing to Madrid, losing to Chelsea. Now they've beaten Atletico Madrid, face Madrid in the Supercopa de España in January, and they can start getting their season on track. Because, I've said there on the pod and talked about UCL favorites, and I always mention Barca as one of the biggest. Because form doesn't correlate 100% into winning the Champions League. It's about the moment, it's about the players, and I still think they have a very high likelihood. They just, at the moment, got to improve a little bit on consistency and expect more from their players. I tweeted something like Yamal is on fraud watch or something, and someone comments, no, he's having a great game. Like, those fans should be banned from the club because, they're not honest and they don't want the best for the club. When I criticize Chevalier or Marquinhos, it's because I want the best for this club. I have high standard. I put the club above any player. But that ends it. As I said, not the best performance, but I still think if you're a Barca fan or anything, you should go away with positive notes, got the 3 points. And as I said, Barca don't really have any big game until next year. So now it's all about just picking up the points and all of that. And that's my full reaction for FC Barcelona's 2-1 victory versus Frankfurt. Hopefully guys have enjoyed this video. And as usual, allez Paris.